Good morning everyone, welcome to the summer term. We're beginning the term with an assembly on memory. You might remember that the day we closed I came round and spoke to many of you because even by then we couldn't have assembly together, and we talked about the way in which this was a time where we're creating memories. There will be a time when you are grandmothers and people ask you, what was it like during lockdown? So memory is really important, and memory is something that we can be in charge of. We can create memories. I've also been reading this wonderful book, and one of the many reasons I love it is because the title comes from a poem I learnt 1,000,000 years ago in honour of my granny, who had a ridiculous poem for every situation. Here we are. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea-green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped up in a £5 note. The owl looked up at the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Oh, lovely pussy, oh pussy my love, what a beautiful pussy you are, you are, you are, what a beautiful pussy you are. Pussy said to the owl, you elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing. Come, let us be married, too long we have tarried, but what shall we do for a ring? They sailed away for a year and a day to the land where the bong tree grows, and there, in a wood, a piggywig stood with a ring at the end of his nose, his nose, his nose, with a ring at the end of his nose. Dear pig, are you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring? Said the piggy, I will. They took it away and were married next day by the turkey who lives on the hill. They dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon, and hand in hand at the edge of the sand they danced by the light of the moon, the moon, the moon. They danced by the light of the moon. And I asked a few members of staff if there were poems that they had learnt by heart or just remembered, and what the circumstances of that remembering was. So here's Mr. Elder with a poem written by Edward Thomas, and it's a poem which is set around a memory of an event which happened a year before he wrote the poem. And really interestingly, his wife was there when this event happened, but she doesn't appear in the poem. So there's something else for us to reflect upon in terms of memory.
Addlestrop by Edward Thomas. Yes, I remember Addlestrop, the name, because one afternoon of heat, the express train drew up there unwontedly. It was late June. The steam hissed. Someone cleared his throat. No one left and no one came on the bare platform. What I saw was Addlestrop, only the name.
Hi, I'm Mrs Lunn. I teach history at St Augustine's Priory and have been on maternity leave for the last year and am back at work this term. I've missed seeing all your faces and was really looking forward to seeing you again in the classroom, but in the meantime I look forward to teaching you remotely until we can be together again. So the poem that I've chosen is by a man called Andrew Marvell. It's called The Garden, and it's memorable to me because it just takes me straight back to studying for my A-level English, and I just really loved his poetry at the time. And I thought this one was a really good one to choose because in it he basically talks about the garden as being a wonderful place for reflection and contemplation, and appreciating it as a space from the rest of the world, and a place where your mind can rest. So I thought maybe that might be something that you are doing at the moment. I've cut it down a little bit because it's a bit long, this part. So he writes, meanwhile the mind from pleasureless withdraws into its happiness, annihilating all that's made to a green thought in a green shade.
So I've chosen for my poem Ithaca by Constantine Cavafy, a Greek poet, and I'm just going to read you the second half in translation. It goes like this. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you're destined for. But don't hurry the journey at all. Better that it lasts for years, so that you're old by the time you reach the island. Wealthy with all you have gained along the way, and not expecting Ithaca to make you rich. Ithaca has given you the marvellous journey. Without her, you wouldn't have set out. She has nothing left to give you now. And if you find her poor, Ithaca won't have fooled you. Wise as you will have become, full of experience, by then you'll understand what these Ithacas mean. And I chose that poem because it was one I came across completely randomly, having bought a volume of poetry when I was doing an internship when I was 19 in Athens in an investment bank, because I thought that's maybe what I would end up doing. And that poem, I think, is responsible for why I became a teacher. It reminded me of the classics that I loved in a place that was just so truly classical, and it gave me the message about the journey, that the journey is more important than the destination, that what we learn from the journey is absolutely as important, if not more important, than where we end up. And I think that's something that's stayed with me all the way through my teaching. So that is why I chose that poem.
So this term, girls, it's a different kind of summer term, but we've got many goals that we want to achieve between us. We're setting off on a whole new world of remote learning, and a whole new world of learning and memorising. And one of the things I'd love you to do is to spend some time in this unique time with poetry or drama or literature, and set yourself to learning some of it. Because in years to come, you will look back and then remembering the moment you learnt those lines will anchor this moment in some kind of peace. And we're going to make our prayers together now as we say, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Amen. We're going to bring together all the people we love in our community who are suffering. But we're also going to give thanks to God for the great joy of Easter. One of the features of being what we call an Easter people is that we're people of hope. And here's another piece of poetry I learnt. Faith is the bird who feels the dawn while it is still dark. And let's say together, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Saint Augustine, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So girls, I'm going to look forward to setting up a club with those of you who'd like to join in on the project, which is called Poetry Together. And in due course, the idea is that we will be learning poetry with a matched care home or old people's home. If you want to look up on the website, it's called Poetry Together. That's something to look forward to. In the meantime, it's time to sing. So get your great big voices out and by all means march along. You need to find the link, please, on the VLE. Have a lovely day, everybody.